One of the most asked questions I get is regarding the Déise. What does it mean? Was it a person? Was it a group of people? What was it? And so I hope today to answer some of those questions. Now, most people believe that the Déise are centred in Waterford. However, there are many places around the country associated with the name Déise. They originally originated in Tara, in Meath. So you have groups like the Déise Moon, that's the crowd that are down here in Waterford and South Tipperary. You have the Déise Tara, you have Déise Beck, which are also associated with County Meath. You have Déise Tushkart, the northern sept, and of which became very famous, a very famous tribe called the Dalcash, great warriors. Now, they're all various tales, and some of them believe that many of them are just pure legends, but all agree in some essentials. That the Déise descended from a fellow called Fuicosia, and he was brother of Con of the 100 Battles, who became King of Ireland in the year, King of Meath, in 177. Now the Déise then were expelled from Tara in the year 254 under the following circumstances. It's believed that Aengus, Prince of the Déise, not happy with the fact that the Déise wouldn't be involved in the monarchy of Tara, rebelled. They wounded King Cormac, who was the king at the time, and they killed his son Ceallac. Now King Cormac then entered into war with the Déise and drove him out of Tara, and they came into Munster, where King Ulial Ullum, strange name, King of Munster, granted them lands extending from the shore southwards to the sea, from Lismore to Craden Head, which we spoke a lot about. So that was more or less comprising the whole territory of Waterford, and the name that they had, they gave the area, was the Déise Moon, or Nan-Déise was another one, and as I said, Déise Moon is the one that exists to the present day. And because of their intermarriage with other people, they got extra land. So we know that the Déise existed by the very fact of those named places alone. So that's evidence to the fact that the Déise existed. But there's a curious book called the Book of Rights. It's in the Irish language, and again speaks about the tribute that the Déise had to pay to the King of Cashel, and also what they got from the King of Cashel. And in that, well, I'll read some of it out, and it's very, very curious. So they were to get a ship well rigged, a gold-hilted sword, a horse rich in furniture, 8 ships, 8 men slaves, 8 women slaves. So just goes to show you that slavery was something that was embedded in Irish society. The first 3 are gifts of the King of Cashel, and the tribute of the Lord Deise to the King of Cashel. It says, in time of peace, 2,000 hogs, 1,000 cows, and in time of war, 1,000 oxen, 1,000 sheep, 1,000 cloaks, and 1,000 milk cows. The second stipend to the King of Déise from the King of Cashel is very curious. It's 8 bondmen, 8 brown-haired women. Now, you might say, why should they be brown-haired? Well, maybe up in Cashel they were only all foxy ones. I don't know. But 8 brown-haired women they were supposed to have, and it was very curious. Now, one of the things that most people are not aware of is that St. Patrick came to Ireland in 432. He came to preach Christianity. Well, he was wasting his time down here in the Déise because we had Christianity before or contemporary with St. Patrick. And how did we get that? Through a fellow called Declan, who was a prince of the Déise. And he was of royalty, and he was a Déise man, and he became Saint Declan, and he was known as the Patrick of the Déise. So, in actual fact, there are several saints that are believed to be members of the Déise in the Moon. Now, about 966, 2 families dominated the Déise tribe, or the Déise Moon, and they were O'Fuelons, they were styled Prince of the Déises, and the O'Bricks. They were described in an ancient poem as 2 mild chiefs whom I do not conceal, rule over the Déises, which I affirm, O'Brick, who enforced all the tributes that I spoke about in that a moment ago, and also the wise and fair O'Faolain. Now we find the O'Faolains actually in league with the Vikings in 1169 when Strongbow and his army attacked Waterford. And they fought against Strongbow and against the Normans, and they were captured and imprisoned in Reginald's Tower, and about to be executed when along came Dermot Power, the fella who invited the Normans over, the Irish king, and he actually interceded for the lives of Reginald and Maelchoclan or Malachy O'Faolain. Now, the curious thing, whereas the Vikings were given protection under English law, the O'Faolains weren't. Now, they were given some of their lands to retain, and there is a great name place outside Dunmorees called Ratwaden, and the name alone suggests that that was an ancient fort belonging to the O'Faolains, the princes of the Déise. In 1200, around 1200, there was a dispute between the Bishop of Waterford. The Vikings had become Christian in 1096, and they got their own bishop. He was an Irishman, by the way. But there was a dispute then further when the first bishop, Malchus was his name, died. The Normans started becoming appointed as bishops of Waterford. And they were land hungry. They couldn't get enough land. So they set their eyes on Lismore, because we had two bishops, the Bishop of Waterford, the Bishop of Lismore. So they wanted Lismore lands, and there was terrible trouble. They tried to kill the Bishop of Lismore. They had him in jail, everything. So the O'Faolains, being very, very, very rebellious and very Irish, they killed the Bishop of Waterford. And for that, they were more or less expelled from their lands. So you don't hear much about the O'Faolains of the Déise much after that. And they seemed to be very noted bards and poets. But what happened to their lands? Well, it was given to the Normans, and subsequent to that, to that settlement of the English here from Queen Elizabeth time on. And much of it still remains in the descendants of those Normans and English. I won't mention any of the families, it would take me too long, but they still have that land. So the Déise are going around, or so to speak, landless. So what's not very widely known about the Déise is the fact that they were also sea pirates. Now, we mentioned about the tributes that they got from the King of Cashel. I mentioned that they were given ships, 8 ships. And an awful lot of people on the west coast got ships for the simple reason is that they would raid Britain. And they would bring back whatever they got, slaves, gold, whatever, and they would give part of that to the various kings, King of Tara, King of Cashel, King of wherever. And so they were given these ships by the kings. And off they went over to Britain. And about the year 380, now remember, the Romans were in England from the time of the birth of Jesus almost onwards. And they were very well established in England, in Britain as we call it. So about 380 there was a Roman emperor by the name of Magnus Maximus. And he was thoroughly fed up of the Irish raiding Wales in particular. So the story is that he asked the Déise, who were raiders and raiding, would they come over and settle in Wales, a part of Wales. It's the current Diffit, it's called. It's an area between Glamorganshire and Pembrokeshire. And so the Irish, the Déise na Moon, the Waterford Déise, settled in that area. And they were there for hundreds of years. And they spoke Irish for a couple of hundred years. So from 380 onwards, part of Wales was an Irish-speaking colony of the Déise. They kept up contact with the Waterford Déise up to about the 700s. Now, there's 20 monuments in the Diffit region that are inscribed in Irish and Latin. Curiously enough, not in Welsh, but in Irish and Latin. Well, Latin because of the Roman conquest of England, and a lot of people would have spoken Latin. And the Irish spoke their own language. So you can see that they were very, very influential, very colourful tribe. Now, as I said, the two names were O'Brick and O'Faolawn. Of the O'Bricks, I don't even know anyone with that name, but perhaps we have Ballybricken. Perhaps, I'm not too sure whether Ballybricken is related to the tribe of the O'Bricks. Possibly so. So what happened to the O'Faolawns? Well, they're all around us. If you're lucky enough to have the name O'Faolawn, you've had absolutely glorious ancestry. And I will say that, glorious ancestry, and you have an awful lot to be proud of and to shout about. So we'll shout about it now by saying, Déise Aboo. Talk to you soon.
I sing this song about Waterford, a place that's home sweet home. No matter where I wander, wherever I may roam, I sing this song about Waterford, a place that's home sweet home. I sing this song about Waterford, a place that's home sweet home.